As an island nation, our geographic position gives us limited control over airborne and ocean-borne pollutants that originate beyond our territorial waters. Seasonal wind patterns can and do carry emissions from distant sources, deposit them on our island. At the same time, internal challenges remain. Some industrial sites and congested urban corridors generate local pollution, and there are important gaps in vehicle standards and enforcement. In fact, independent oversight has found that a very high proportion of vehicles on our roads do not meet adequate smoke emission standards, a problem that aggravates urban exposure to harmful pollutants. The human consequences of inactions are grave. Poor air quality shortens life expectancy, increases hospital admissions for respiratory and cardiovascular disease, undermines children's lung development and school attendance, and reduces worker productivity. Marine pollution damages, especially in Sri Lanka, the fisheries, the tourism, and the food security of coastal communities. These are not issues confined to an environmental brief. They are public, economic, and social justice emergencies. So what do we do as a region? Permit me to outline a pragmatic, three-pronged approach that is diplomatic, actionable, and suited to governments, civil societies, and international partners alike. Number one, create a regional monitoring and data sharing network. We must establish an interoperable network of air and marine monitoring stations with transparent real-time data accessible to governments, scientists, and the public. Shared data builds trust, enables coordinated early warnings, and allows us to identify sources, signatures that mitigation is targeted and effective. This does not have to be confined to expensive technology. We can begin with harmonized protocols, pool labs, and shared modeling efforts. Number two, coordinated policy and enforcement across borders. Air and sea pollution, by definition, transboundary. National policies that reduce emissions at source, cleaner fuels, stricter vehicle and industrial standards, improve waste management, and sustainable agricultural practices are essential. But when one country's emissions affect another, air or beaches, bilateral and multilateral mechanisms are needed to align standards, incentivize compliance, and provide channels of technical assistance and dispute resolution. Number three, mobilize finance, technology, and capacity through international partnership. Many states in our region lack fiscal space to modernize fleets or scale up waste management. We should collectively engage multilateral development banks, climate funds, and UN agencies to target finance and technology transfer for clean air and maritime protection programs, especially those that directly benefit vulnerable communities. I want to underline 2 points of political importance. First, diplomacy matters. Environmental diplomacy is not a second-order concern. It is central to regional stability and shared prosperity. Let us use SAARC, IORA, Bay of Bengal initiatives, bilateral channels, and global forums to build an architecture for cooperation on air and marine quality. Second, justice matters. Small island and coastal communities should not be the unwilling recipients of other states' pollution. Where possible, we should negotiate and responsibility sharing mechanisms, including technical support, funding or mitigation, and if necessary, remediation assistance. Here I would like to commend Pakistan for taking decisive steps to place clean air on the national agenda for convening forums such as this one that foster regional dialogue. The leadership shown here in policy, public engagement, and industrial innovation set an example and open space for cooperation action across South Asia. Sri Lanka extends its solidarity with Pakistan's effort and stands ready to work in partnership. We also must not forget the role of communities and civil societies. Local fishermen, community organizations, youth groups cleaning beaches, doctors tracking asthma admissions, they hold vital evidence and are strengthening public information systems so citizens can make safer daily choices when pollution episodes occur, and evolve communities in monitoring and local mitigation. Finally, allow me to offer a concrete offer from Sri Lanka. We propose the establishment of a small regional task force, officials, scientists, and civil society representatives to draft a short action-oriented memorandum of understanding within the next year or so that sets out shared monitoring protocols, emergency notification procedures, and a plan for joint capacity building. This task force would report back to the bureaucracy ministers and invite multilateral partners to support implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, pollution that begins across borders can end lives here at home. The air we breathe and the seas that sustain our livelihoods are common goods. Protecting them demands compassion, solidarity, and a practical cooperation. Let us seize this moment not for rhetoric but for real, measurable action for the health of our children, for the resilience of our economies, for the dignity of our coastal communities. Sri Lanka stands with Pakistan and with all other nations of the Indian Ocean and the South Asia in this work. Let us go forward. Thank you.